the HEDD Audio Headphone D1. Let's talk about it. This is a purchased product. I got this from Bloom Audio. I bought it from them full price. I had some store credit and I decided wanted to try this out since it was pretty hyped. It's an interesting product. I wanted to share some thoughts with you. Let's look at the nitty-gritty and some of the features of what comes in this box. The best part about this headphone is the build quality. The pads to me are exceedingly comfortable. I like the build quality. You can kind of see their head symbol kind of in the back on this driver, which is cool. Head symbol is on the top. It's a nice build quality. It has good cup swivel and is an overall nice feeling headphone. It also doesn't get too loud, so if you're worried about this being too loud while you had someone else in the room, I don't think that's a problem. Again, cup swivel's good. The feel and comfort of this headphone is exceptional, and that's the best thing about it. I don't feel comfort is bad. I sometimes will use a capper strap, and I found that absolutely unnecessary on this headphone, so take that for what you will. Great high quality build. It does include ear pad dust removers, which I think is a nice touch. The cable I was concerned about. It is a little bit difficult to get these into the cable. There are stereo indicators of right and left on this. It has a nice Y split on this cable. It feels comfortable. I like the cable. Oftentimes microphonic cables will drive me crazy, but it's a nice overall cable that's terminated in 3.5 or 6.3 if you need to. Again, it doesn't bother me, and oftentimes fabric cables do bother me, and this one felt okay. There is a nice little case that the cable comes in. I like the feel and look of this a great deal. It feels sleek on the hands. There's also a case to put your headphones in. That's a nice little protective case if you want to take this and throw this into a backpack or on the travel. It's just a nice little accessory to have in case you do need to take this on the road for studio use or just to take it to a show or whatever you need. It's a nice little addition that not every headphone has, but should have, let's be honest. So to summarize the build quality, I would say that it's absolutely fantastic. I have no fault with it. I like it a great deal. I think it looks handsome. It feels great in the hand, and it is a high quality build headphone. HEDD is promising 5 years of support on this, and they're usually pretty good about product support from what I've read from the community and from what I've heard. And having said that, I just feel that this overall has a great build quality, but maybe nothing super spectacular. It feels good. It feels nice. Does it justify its current cost? That's for you to determine. But as far as how I feel about it, the build quality is exceptional, and it does feel durable in my time use with it. So how does this headphone sound? It sounds very flat. It sounds very neutral. It has a nice sonic quality to it, but I would call it unengaging and not super bombastic or exciting. I do like the sound of this headphone. It is super enjoyable, but it doesn't have that dynamic quality that I think other headphones have. I think this is a laid-back stereo headphone that is an open back, that is of exceptional build quality, and I think professionals will find great use of it because of its flat signature. But I did find it to be a little bit unexceptional in the sonic department. If you're looking for an unexceptional, flat, even kiltered headphone, this is gonna be your guy. But if sometimes if there's not enough going on with the headphone, it can be a little bit dull, a little bit lacking of excitement, a little bit less of like when you're listening to a headphone or listening to music on a headphone, that it can be less of an audible journey. This is kind of my experience with this headphone, that it doesn't really have that it factor. It doesn't have that amazing factor, but it is very, very nice. and it is a very nice build quality to make up for some of those unexcitable things in the sound. And that might be what you want for what you're doing, is a almost flat basic sound signature. I wanted to show you this headphone on my rig, and this is how it graphs. It's just a IC coupler with a fake ear, and we have graphed one side of this. So it's not something that I would say is super precise, but I've looked at my measurements compared to other people's measurements on other devices, and I feel that they are appropriate. But having said that, take any mic or any graph reading you would do with a huge grain of salt. And what you notice, this does have a nice characteristic. It does have a nice sonic quality. If you compare something like the Dan Clark E3, which is a closeback, which I think would be more appropriate for studio use, it's lighter. What you'll notice is that it has a little bit more sub bass. Like if you normalize this to say 500, you get a better feel of it. But the D1's a lot more flat in its mid-range. The E3 has a little bit of a kind of a tuck here and a little bit more energy. I just find the E3 to be a little bit more fun and engaging, like more pleasing to listen to music to. And I feel that sub bass is significantly better. I feel like its mid-range is a little bit more popping in. And it would get my vote. And I know there are other headphones from Dan Clark, like the EXO, that's about the same price as the D1, but I have not really heard it enough to be able to say anything about it. So I will say the E3, if you can get it used, it's about the same cost, and it might be a better bet, but it's hard finding good closebacks. So if you're not looking for a closed back, you're looking for an open back, and so it becomes kind of a interesting thing. Now, let's do a few other things I wanted to show you. One thing I didn't want to show you, I did add an adapter. And again, with my rig, you have to take it with a grain of salt. But you'll notice that it seemed to have not a huge effect. But the effect that it did have had a little bit more treble, actually, to the approach, right? Like it had a little bit of a dip here. It added a little bit more 5K, a little bit about the same here, but a little bit of increased air in certain regions like past 10K with that adapter, which is interesting. But it seems like it does kind of come alive on adapters. So like if on certain amps, you might want to try this and you might find it to be a little bit better. I've been trying it with an impedance adapter, and I feel like just with a little bit of impedance, it just adds a little bit of flair, a little bit something else. It's fun to kind of take my amp and kind of crank it up a little bit with the impedance adapter, because it needs a little bit more sound, because it's a little bit harder to drive. But actually it's not too bad. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is that this does make the sound a little bit better, a little bit spicier, but it's a minor change. And I would take that all with a grain of salt. This is like a possible data point, not the say all end all be all. And if someone with a better rig does graph this with impedance adapters, I would be interested in looking at it. But I wanted to be clear about what my feelings were on this, that it is, in my view, better with impedance adapter, but by like 1 or 2%. As far as other headphones out there that are out there, something like I personally like the Hi-Fi-Man HE600. I feel like, it does have a little bit more of this mid-bass region for the D1. And it's hard to say what else is out there. It's possible that I'm hitting some peaks here around 6K with the D1 that's making it a little bit less flat and interesting. These might be sensitive peaks to me. There might be the increased treble on the HE600, might be driver memes, whatever you want to say. But I do feel that the Hi-Fi-Man HE600 is a better headphone. I like it a lot better. I think it's a lot cleaner. I don't feel... build quality is pretty hard to define. I do feel that the D1 is a bit more comfortable, but it's very close. They have slightly different tonalities and drivabilities. But like if someone were to ask me, which one I would prefer, I personally would go with the HE600. But that's just my personal take on this, on my sensibilities and my personal preference. That the HE600 is a better set. They're priced identically. And something to note, as far as what else to look at, There's two headphones I want to show you real quick. The Odyssey Maxwell. I really like the Maxwell. It has increased sub bass, a little bit less of some of these peaks here, and it has extenuated fun upper air and treble. A little bit more, mid-range clarity. It's just a nice overall set and sonic quality to it. I really like the Odyssey Maxwell. I think, if you can deal with a wireless closed back headphone, I've seen this around for $200, and I think it's one of the best deals in audio. One of my friends was telling me it's the best. It has no right being as good as it is for its price, and that's kind of my take too. But there is an appeal to the D1 for sure. Another one to look at. Let's get rid of that. Put this one up here. Is the Sennheiser HEDD550. Now the 550 to me, I don't know what it is. Maybe a little bit less bass. A little bit extenuated upper air frequency, past 15K. I like that headphone, and I think its price is around $300. It has one wire. If a studio friend of mine is like, hey, I need an open back headphone, what would you recommend? I love the Sennheiser HEDD550. It's one of my favorite sets. It's probably my headphone of the year under 400 that's wired. It's really fantastic, and sonically there's not a lot of difference to them, just a few tiny differences here in the mid bass kind of region. That D1 had been a little bit more energy here at 1K, and it's just slightly different tonalities, but I do think that there's not that lot of difference between the two, and I personally like the 550. I watched a movie the other day. It's called Lamborghini. I like the main actor in it, and it's a solid movie about the story of Lamborghini, and it's an interesting story, but it has this. I don't want to give too much about spoilers about the movie, but it's about the high end a little bit, and the high end is high end headphones are a lot like high end cars. Sometimes there is something particular special about them, something very interesting about them. And while I don't feel the performance of this is justified in the fact that it is a higher sonic quality or this pristine, beautiful product, it is kind of like a Lamborghini in the fact that it's super a cool build quality. It's a great unboxing experience. It's $800, but if you got it on sale, it'd be a little more competitive. And there's a lot of headphones out there. This is the cheapest headphone that HEDD has done by a significant margin. That's also something to kind of consider as well. This is a good product, and I think it gets a recommendation, but I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys because I got one and kind of got part of the hype train. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!